Morning, Matt. It's Brad Langille here from GoGold Resources. And of course, we're the junior that operates in Mexico with the name GoGold, but we're really primarily silver. And we have a self-funding exploration program in Mexico on our Los Ricos district, which is for us one of the largest undeveloped still remaining in Mexico. And we have our producing mine that's funding all that exploration down there.
Fantastic. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Funny markets at the moment. What's happening in the world of precious metals?
Well, you know what? My view is that we're still in a long-term bull market in the precious metals. But in any bull market that I've seen in my career of almost 30 years now, there's pullbacks all the way along. And, the summer doldrums here a little bit. But I think you're going to see things pick up in the fall. And, for us, we've done pretty well even in this pullback. And the reason is because we have a project that really just keeps on delivering and delivering for us. And we have one of the largest drill programs in Mexico on this silver project, the Los Ricos district. And it's really just keeps on giving. And that's why we're able to really hang on to what we've gained, and really I see us just gaining as we move along here. Good time to buying these dips here, because this is good entry points into this.
Okay, well, talk to me about that, because I think most of the questions that we get sent in are around the fact that the project does keep giving in terms of the numbers. Okay, they're good grades, they're consistent grades, and that's fantastic. And 10,000 meters a month, fantastic. But how do you develop the districts? You talk about this being a big project, a big district-wide project, and we hear that a lot, right? And you've got to paint the picture so that people can understand how you go about delivering value. So how are you approaching this project? Because it's so many moving parts. I think people are just a little bit unsure about it. So how should we be, viewing this?
It's funny. We have all these catchphrases in our business, right? Company maker, district size, all of those, and I've been around it for a long time. And I'll tell you, and you'll probably hear this from a lot of people promoting their companies, but, everything we've done in the past, and, we built 4 mines in Mexico, and the whole career has been focused in Mexico. This is the best that I've seen in my career. And I've been saying that on our interviews now for the last year or so, and it's proving out to be the best. And it is delivering, exceeding my expectations. So the question is, this district is really the kind of district, again, that you would, one of the big majors would have. And I think I've said before in interviews, we don't plan our business on somebody buying us out, because we don't control that. We control doing good exploration. We control doing good engineering and building a business, not building a promotion, but building a business. And Los Ricos and Parral giving us all that cash flow, the great support we're getting from our institutions, the best institutions in the business, the strong balance sheet of $73 million US in the bank and generating cash every day at Parral that's funding all this exploration. That has put us in a position with really one of the best districts undeveloped in Mexico that we have, to another cliche in our business, a company maker. And that's what I really do believe, and that's what we control at Los Ricos. And, what's the path forward, I think, is the original question. And just throw up 2 slides. I don't want to go into a slide presentation here. But
okay, go on then.
Two slides. There we have the district, and the district, we call it Los Ricos South, Los Ricos North. And we've been here since March 2019, and I'm very proud of what we've accomplished as a company, as the team, because in Los Ricos South, we've defined 63 million ounces of M&I, in silver equivalent, another 20 million ounces of inferred there. And, that's the most advanced towards a mine in the district right now, down here in Los Ricos South. And then we have Los Ricos North. And a little over a year ago, we said we were going to embark on the first 100,000 meters of drilling because we had a pretty good hunch that Los Ricos North, more than a hunch, we saw that it was the biggest part of the mineralized system here. And we based that on the history of what the district was over the last 100 and some years. But we were missing some claims, and we got those claims, and we launched that 100,000 meter drill program. And we're coming close to completing 100,000 meters. So at some point you have to put a pin in it and say, this thing keeps on giving. Every meter we drill is as productive as, the first 10,000 meters we drilled up there. But it's 100,000 meters done, and we want to tell all our investors what they got as a shareholder for that first 100,000 meters. I stress the point, first 100,000 meters, because we're not stopping. And what we're targeting, we have a target in our mind that we are hoping we'll get to for that first 100,000 meters, and that target is 120, 125. I think we're going to be good with that. End of September, first part of October, if we drag it on a couple more weeks, I think you can read that as being a positive thing. A positive as in places like El Favor East, which was a discovery here really in the last 6 weeks, is turning out really well for us. And we'll have some more news on that, in a week or 2 weeks. We pretty much do weekly drill results. So we have Los Ricos North. That's kind of the big monster not monster. I mean, it's the biggest part of the mineralized system. And it's a little further out on the horizon. And we got to see what the real size of Los Ricos North is, which it's not slowing down in its growth. We don't see anytime soon. Now, we have Los Ricos South, and we're doing pre-feasibility engineering there. We're pushing that thing towards a mine, towards cash flow. And we see that by the end of 2022, we're going to make a construction decision down there. We've got $73 million in the bank. We've got the cash to pay for all the exploration in Los Ricos North. It's a pretty clear route, I believe, to getting the financing to build Los Ricos South. And then it's going to start generating cash. And then we have 2 mines in our portfolio. We're a mid-tier, low end of the cost regime as far as cost per all-in sustaining costs, probably down around $13. That's a pretty good start, but the big one is Los Ricos North, and that with Los Ricos South and Parral in production, Los Ricos North being significantly larger than Los Ricos South, even as large as it is down there in the south. I truly believe, and I go back to that cliche, we have a real company maker here in Los Ricos.
Right, but it's about how you piece it together, Brad. The bit I'm interested in is how you piece it together, because I was speaking to a CEO earlier this week from London, and he has a very sort of certain views of how Canadian miners do it versus Australian miners. Australian miners want to rush into production as soon as possible. Canadians like to keep drilling and drilling and drilling. I think you seem to be somewhere in the middle. You want to put the stake in the sand. You want to get Los Ricos South producing, is what I'm hearing. Because you've got Parral, that's delivering. That's delivering revenue for you, and that's helping with the G&A, et cetera. You're selling with $73 million cash in the bank, which is fantastic. But how quickly do you make this investment decision on getting Los Ricos South into some sort of construction decision? I mean, what is that process? And you're right. There is a little bit different philosophy in North America versus over in Australia. And through my career, I've worked with a lot of Australians and Americans, Canadians. I think one thing that's unique about GoGold is we're already in production and we're already generating that cash flow. We have an operations team, and we've already built 4 mines in the past as far as the majority of the key people in our team. So, we're not scared of building mines. But I do understand very much the philosophy. Hey, you get value for your shareholders by just showing how big this thing is,
and then a major will come in and buy it out because they'll say they have to own it. So both are right, and the correct answer for a GoGold is somewhere in the middle, because we cannot control when or if somebody buys us out, right? And also, that we do want to show how big this is, because we do believe this is kind of asset that is either the company maker for a GoGold, or it's the asset that the major silver producer needs to have in their portfolio. But we control what we control. We control doing good exploration, finding lots of ounces, which we do. Good engineering, building mines when the time's right. That means when we get there with the right amount of engineering done, we've limited the risk to a low level as far as the construction. Then we build it. And at the same time, what's really nice about Los Ricos, at the same time, the institutional, the retail investor out there can look at GoGold and they can say, GoGold, you're another peer in our business in Mexico. Well, they're in the building phase, but they're not in the exploration phase anymore. They're in the building phase. We're going to be in the production phase, Parral. We're going to be in the building phase, Los Ricos South, and we're going to be still in the big time exploration phase in Los Ricos North.
Do you need Los Ricos North to work to be able to finance Los Ricos South?
No.
Right. So you don't need a maiden resource of any description on Los Ricos North to be able to get this thing financed down in the south.
I'm sure that the mid-tier silver producers would love to have a Los Ricos South if that's all they had, because that's a great mine. Los Ricos North is what puts the thing over the top, because it's multiples of Los Ricos South. So here we are sitting here as a mid-tier, production today, building cash flow in Los Ricos South, which will brings us up to, looking at the PEA, I know that's a first level study, will bring us up to very significant cash flow out of those two operating mines. And Los Ricos North, that's the big one, that just drives the company right to the next level.
Right.
So we've got it all in-house right now.
Okay, so that's interesting. So Los Ricos South can stand on its own 2 feet. You're not concerned about not only getting it in financed, but you're not concerned about getting into production yourselves because you've done it before. Because a lot of, like I say, we hear that a lot. It's like, oh, we're going to build. There's not a builder on the team. No one's ever built a mine before, not one. But they got to talk the language to kind of keep the price up or the competitive tension up. But you would see that as a defensible move, i.e., it almost fends off people, or is it something that's attractive to mid tiers or one of the majors?
Yeah, I mean, we don't sit there thinking about fending people off, because hey, I'm the second largest shareholder of the company. Our duty as management of this company and the board is to get the best return for our shareholders. And, so I think the strategy that we're using is a good business strategy. It's a good business strategy, and we're building a business here. And when you're focused on that, then lo and behold, we've experienced it, in our experience in the past. That's when somebody comes in and says, hey, I got a better idea for you. Take a look at this, right? It's not we don't set out every day saying we want to be bought out. We set out every day saying we're building a business here, but we'll entertain good returns, good opportunity for our shareholders, stakeholders as we move along.
So and again, it's getting lots of sort of interesting feedback from the market at the moment. You've one of the models we've talked about in the last few weeks was where, again, coming to this North American versus Australian model, where you build out the resource, you continue to build out the resource. And I appreciate you're putting out a maiden resource, in mid October, let's say. But it's kind of one of those things where you go, actually, we can just make that so big that people kind of lose the will to live. It's like too much information about the size of the resource and nothing ever happens. Is there a point at which you go, do you know what? We'll park that up for now. We'll park up the drilling, the exploration, et cetera, and we'll focus for the next year and a half, 2 years on getting Los Ricos South going? Or can you do both?
I would say if we didn't have Parral today, we couldn't do both, or we would probably be better served by focusing on one or the other. But look, we've got a solid team and we have the cash flow that we can do both. And we have the, what's really important, we have the institutional support. It's such a clear road to financing Los Ricos South. And it's a clear road because, myself and my career were backed by such a strong management team and technical team. We've done equity deals in excess of $1 billion. We've done big time debt deals with people like Scotiabank in one of my companies, and 110 million, Bank of Montreal, 50 million US. So financing this, I don't believe will be any issue at all. As we go through the proper engineering in the South. And again, I think this is a very enviable position that we're in. It's one of the best positions I've been in my career, to have the best asset I've had in my career, to have self-funding production and a staged development of what's the best district left in Mexico to develop. And we can stage it as in Los Ricos South in the build phase, Los Ricos North in the big growth phase in ounces. And, I think that's a formula for becoming a large mid-tier and beyond.
It's definitely an interesting one, Brad, because if you kind of, people refer to the Lassonde curve, et cetera, and usually get the high, and then you get a lull during the development stage, and or even construction stage, quite frankly, as well. And it's like you may not suffer from that,
Right.
trough, because you've got production at Parral. You got the blue sky of exploration because you've got the money to be able to do that, and you've got the development, getting into production phase 2. So you kind of got a sort of portfolio approach, albeit with one extended asset, in one jurisdiction, which normally would be a problem.
Yeah, no, look, that's good observation, but we've been focused on Mexico now for over 25 years, and it served us very well. I would argue that we have some of the best business relationships, government relationships, community relationships in the country. And so Mexico has served us very well. We feel very comfortable there. The one asset, it's kind of like two assets, really, and they're within 18 kilometers apart, and it's very, very large. So, I don't know. I couldn't think of much of a better position for us to be in. In my career, anyway, this is the best. This is the best company structure. This is the best asset. The team is the best because, hey, I went to the school of Ocampo. That was the first mine I built, and that was back in 1999 in Mexico. Didn't know a lot, but had to learn real fast. And a lot of the team are from that school of Ocampo, and Ocampo was the project in Gammon Lake way back. But the point is that, we've been through the ringer before, and we've learned, and we know now, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. The team has matured a lot in the last 20 years. I think we're one of the best technical teams down there in the business. So we can do this, and nothing's easy in the mining industry, but I'm not going to say we can do this easily, because then I'd be really promoting here. Nothing's easy in mining, but at least you want to deal with a team who's done it before and has some experience under their belt.
That you do. So between now and Christmas, what are we looking forward to? The precious metal market will do what it does. You've got to do what you can do. What are we going to be hearing from you?
Well, we're out almost every week with press releases on production, financials. I don't know if you saw our last financials, the best cash flow we've had, and also drill results. I think that our shareholders, they should, I'm really paying attention to Alpha Bore East. That's been a big surprise for us. We should have some news out on 2 new zones we're drilling, Molaloa and Alpha Bore. We should, we'll have that resource out. And I will say that in Los Ricos South, I don't think we're finished there, finding more ounces. Obviously, whatever ounces we have down there now, in a sense, go right to the bottom line of that PEA pre-feasibility to building that mine, because we're going to have X amount of capital. We don't have to add much or any more capital if we increase the size of that resource down there. So that might come into the mix before the end of the year as well. So we've got a lot of exciting stuff going on here. We've got a lot of stuff that's going to build on value. And along the way, maybe we'll get picked up by a few more indexes as well. We have very, very good liquidity in the stock, which is good for our institutional holders. They want to, they want companies that are real. Some of our long-term guys, that's their buy and hold, but just that liquidity is built by the people looking for the dips like right now and saying, hey, I'm coming in, I'm going to make some money here,
Okay, so just be clear then, because I think if someone asked me, I wouldn't be able to be precise with them, which is with regards to, because I think the big thing that you can do is show that you've made an investment decision on building Los Ricos South. To me, okay. How quickly can you get to the point where you can talk to financiers and get this thing financed? Obviously, it's a PEA at the moment, so there's a few more studies to happen, and a bit more drilling, I suspect. But when are you looking to make that call?
Yeah, so we're targeting a construction decision latter part 2022.
Okay,
I think that's a reasonable time frame, and then just continuing drilling, growing resources in Los Ricos North. So being that Canadian kind of thinking, Los Ricos North, keep on growing exploration. Being that Australian thinking, Los Ricos South, building the next mine, we have one now. And, it's the best of both worlds, I think.